I ultimately got to some scumbag when I am already a scumbag. My last agent, you know him, Mel, from the Morris office, let me go in the fall of 2001. The third week of September. I'd moved to New York 6 months before because there was more work in the clubs back east. I'm a comic 35 years. I'm an actor, too, if you need an actor. I'm a writer, too, but don't put me in a room with other writers. Don't put me in a room with a bunch of fucking 2-year-olds from the Ivy League Chowder Society who ask me where I do my little routines, or if I know what a blow is. I know what a blow is. It's how you got into the fucking Ivy League. Tommy, you promised yourself you wouldn't do this. You promised you wouldn't sound bitter. That's right. I'm a 60-year-old man who still goes by Tommy. Mel sends me up to HBO to read for a part on The Sopranos. The show had been on for 3 years and was, I don't have to tell you, the biggest thing on television. I was going to read for the part of one of the guys in Tony's big poker game, and if David Chase liked me, they would find a way for me to come back. That's what Mel said. So I go in. It's 4 people in the room, and it's September 21st, 10 days after the towers had come down. I walk in, and David Chase recognizes me. He says, "Did I see you at the Improv at the Riv in Las Vegas maybe 10 years ago?" I said, "Sure, I used to play there all the time. Steve Sharippa was the doorman." He says, "That's right. But that's not where I met Steve." I say, "Well, tell me where you met him and I'll go there." That gets a big laugh. Then David Chase says, "How long have you been in New York?" And I should have said 6 months, but I was so pleased with the last exchange, I kept talking. I said, 6 months. I just bought an apartment downtown, and now my view is fucking ruined. I think they let me read the signs. Yeah, they did. I remember somebody saying, "We just wanted to meet you." When I got back to my apartment, there was a message from Mel. I saved it for months until I moved back here. I still remember it. "Tommy, I know I represent you, but when you go out, you represent me. And when you toss off a line like that in an audition, while they're still looking for bodies at Ground Zero, it might as well be me saying it. And I wouldn't say something that heartless, so this is goodbye. Good luck. Get yourself a new agent, or get a new shrink." So I don't have an agent for 10 years, but I get by. I always have. And if anyone wants me, they find me. That's the thing about show business. When they want you, they find you. When they don't want you, you don't hear anything. It's very egalitarian. 3 years ago, when you could still use dial-up, I get an email from this kid, Bernard Sharp. All it says is, "Chris Rock says you have a great Red Fox story. Can I hear it?" And he leaves his number. I call him and do the story. He loves it. He says he's with UTA, the big agency, and can he send me up if he sees anything for me? I say, absolutely. And then I tell him the David Chase story. Long pause. He says, "Well, if you have to read for David Chase, we'll need to smooth that out." Fine. And that was the last time I heard from Bernard Sharp, until last week. I know you want the Red Fox story. Here it is. Rick Corso and I are working at the Trop in Las Vegas. I want to say it's 1989. And we hear Red Fox is at the Sahara with Slappy White opening for him. Well, I'd worked with Slappy a couple of times, and we got along great. So we go see Slappy, who's very strong, and Red, who's Red. And then we go backstage after the show. We're sitting in Red's dressing room, and as he's changing, he says, "I'm going to open a club here in Vegas, and it's going to be just for comics, just for comics. It's going to have a big stage, a really good sound system, and a little room in the back where you can get your dick sucked and have a sandwich." Now it's last week, and Bernard Sharp calls me. He's with CAA now, much bigger. I want to say, "Great. What's it like eating your own?" I just say, "Congratulations." He says, "I know you don't mean that, but thanks." He wants to send me up to read for Sully, about the guy who landed the plane in the Hudson. I say, "Let me guess, the bitchy flight attendant?" He kind of laughs, and then I say, "I'm going to need a little room in the back." And then he really laughs. He has a much bigger laugh than I remember. I guess that's one of the things they really work on with you at CAA. Bernard Sharp tells me he looked at the breakdowns and called the casting director at Warner's, and the guy said Clint was interested in people he hadn't seen. I say, "Clint who?" And he does the big CAA laugh. "Seriously, Clint Eastwood?" And Bernard Sharp gives me a "fuck yeah." Eesh. I chuckle a little, like, heh. "Bernard," I say, "we got a little problem. We got another David Chase situation. Something that needs to be smoothed out." Nothing. I ask him if he wants to hear the story. Hello? Hello? I'm listening. That's what I get. I'm listening. So I tell him.